also have something going on in April. It's actually April 19th. We have a Convoy of Hope truck coming. So if you guys can put that in your calendars, the 19th, April. If you guys can put that in your calendars to come help, we'll definitely need help doing all that, setting it all up and getting it all put into the vehicles and everything. Those of you who showed up for that before, it's a lot of work. So please come help if you can. We'll definitely need it. But please put that in your calendar so that way we can have more than enough help this time and not have to try and struggle to keep everybody going and keep enough people in there. Was kind of short notice on this. I don't usually plan too far ahead because I try to listen to God and let Him talk to me. But I usually get a week notice, and I only got about 15 hours really. So I didn't get too much time, and Saturday was already a busy day. But I'm going to read out of John chapter 1 a little bit. I'm going to start verse 6. Actually, I'm going to start verse 5 real quick, just because I think it kind of leads into it a little bit more. It says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." So many times in our lives, I think we forget that we're surrounded by darkness everywhere we go, but it doesn't overtake us. It doesn't overwhelm us. We have such a powerful light. I was talking to the kids on last Sunday about this. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember or if you grew up with it, but there is a song. Marissa, you can sing it. I can't sing today. The first verse. Mm-hmm. See, we have that light. We have it. Right now, my voice is really bad, so I don't really want to attempt to try and sing. But thank you. We have that light. We may not think it's big. As children, we're taught that it's a little light. But in all honesty, it's massive. If you guys have those new LED flashlights that have been coming out for the last 5 years, they're so bright. When you turn them on, it actually will light up a whole entire dark room. And it don't even have to be a very big light like it used to. Used to, you'd have to get these big spotlights that were huge, massive, to do the same thing this little tiny light can do now. But He's given us that light inside of us. And it overtakes everything that we come in contact with. Nothing can overtake us. We just have to remember that He's always there. His light's brighter than anything we come into contact with. In verse 6, it says there was a man sent from God whose name was John. He was sent from God. He was purposely ordained by God. God said that he would be filled with the Holy Spirit before he came out of the womb. He said he had to live a pure life. He had to do all these things. His parents obeyed and did what he was supposed to do. And he became what he was supposed to be. He was sent by God. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. I changed that a little bit for me because I think we're all supposed to spread the light. We're also supposed to share the light. We can't, like that song says, we can't hide it under a bushel. We can't hide it to ourselves. We can't keep it from everyone else. We're supposed to give it. We're supposed to give it freely. We can't just keep coming to church on Sundays and say, I'm a Christian, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We have to do it every day. Now, that's the hard part. Because doing it every day in everyday life, we're human beings. We have issues. We have things come up. We all get sick. We have things that go on. We have so many stressful things in our lives. We forget the stress isn't ours. We don't need to hold on to it. We don't have to keep it. We don't have to do anything with it. He's already given us the answer. If we give what we already have, then we get more. He doesn't put a restriction on us. He doesn't say, oh, I'm only going to give you this much today and this much tomorrow and this much the next day. No, he says he's willing to give you everything. You have the light of the world inside you. We're the ones that hide it. We're the ones that keep it to ourselves. We can't do that in everyday life. We have to show his light. It's been kind of neat here lately. I've been able to work with a guy that he actually, it's kind of funny. It's funny how it works. He's a lot older than me, but he's a really nice guy. And come to find out, he knows the exact college I went to in the exact town I went to college at and everything. And he's from California. And he actually never set foot on the campus or anything, but his sister went there. And come to find out, it's like he gave up on Christianity because he found it as a religion. He didn't like the fact it was a religion. Well, to me, Christianity is not a religion. It's my life. I'm not perfect. Don't take me as anything. I'm not. I'm horrible. I do things that I shouldn't do all the time just because my mind is still in the world, and I still think stupid things and do stupid things. But I am a Christian, and I live my life to what he wants. And I'm actually able, it's kind of neat because he normally doesn't listen to Christian music, but when I'm there, he'll put Christian music on and we'll listen to Christian music. He's actually been playing some old songs that my mom used to play all the time that I forget about because I don't listen to the older stuff that much anymore. But my mom used to play that stuff all the time, and I looked at him and said, hey, some of these songs I actually know from when I was a kid because my mom would play them in the car. Back then it was cassette tapes. If you don't know what a cassette tape is, you can look it up. But she would get a bunch of cassette tapes, and she'd just play them all the time in the car, and we'd listen to them all the time. And if she didn't have cassette tapes, she'd do her best to find a radio station we could listen to that was always Christian. But it's been really interesting because I never even mentioned anything. I said I went to college up by Joplin, and he knew exactly where I went to college as soon as I said that. And that opened a door to where I could actually talk to him a little bit, and we just talk, and I don't push anything, and he doesn't say anything, and we just talk, and he's becoming a friend of mine now. But I have the hardest time witnessing to people that I'm working with because I'm always afraid if I push them away, they're going to say something bad about me, and then I don't have work, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. And it's always, to me, the bottom line is always the dollar because I have to make money. And it's been an easy job just because it's just painting and just doing some stuff and helping him out because his basement flooded and my wrist hasn't been 100% yet. So I've been just doing easy things just to try and build strength back up in my wrist because they want me to do physical therapy to build my wrist muscles. But being able to do that with somebody, to me, opens my eyes to say, you know what? Even without me saying anything, he was the one willing to start talking about it. I didn't even have to do anything, and he already started seeing the light in me. And that's kind of sad in my mind because I'm like, how can he see light in me? I'm just nothing but a worthless person sometimes in my mind. That's what I think. I know I'm not. I know I'm not in him because he's given me everything. He's given me what I need. But to see that and to see somebody actually see it in me made me feel great because I don't get a chance to actually talk more, especially with my clientele and stuff because a lot of them, they don't want to hear it because church is a no-no anymore, really, because they say, oh, my mom took me to church or my dad took me to church, and I just got out of it because I got tired of being told I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do this and I can't go there and I can't be here. Well, that's part of it, but the real part is we love you no matter what. The next verse, he himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. I'll never claim I'm perfect. And to me, that's what that's saying is he was never perfect, but yet he claimed to know the one that's coming is going to be perfect. He's going to be the one to shine light and to shine it in the darkest places. To say that my sins are going to be covered. He's going to cover them. I just have to give them to him. Everything I struggle with, he already has. I like to be very organized. I like to have things in their proper place, and I like to have things laid out. And I'm not very good when it comes to writing it down, but when I put tools away and I put things away, I like them where I want them, right? When I look in my truck right now, it's a mess, and it irritates me every time because I haven't had a chance to just clean it out and make it the way I want it again. But when I turn that around and turn it into me, I see the mess inside me. I see everything that's built up over the years, everything that I've gone through over the years. And I look at it and go, I can't do that for him because of what I've done. But at the same time, he came so that we could have the light. He gave so much so that we could have just a little bit. No, we could have it all. We don't get just a little bit. We get it all. In verse 9 it says, the true light that gives light to everyone who was coming into the world. It goes back to what I was talking about a little bit ago. It's not just for you. It's not just for me. It's for everyone. Everyone that came into the world. Verse 10, it says, he was in the world, and through the world was made... tongue twisters for me sometimes. He was in the world, and through the world was made. Through him, the world did not recognize him. Though the world did not recognize him. Sorry. So, he was made in the world. He came to the world. But the world didn't see him. They treated him as an outcast, a liar, someone that they couldn't believe because they were so caught up in their daily religion, their daily things. They couldn't see with the truth right in front of them. Even the Pharisees cursed him and mocked him because they couldn't see the truth right in front of him. So many didn't recognize what was going on and recognize that he was the light of the world. And he was the one that came to save them. And he was the one to bring us the light. It's getting better. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. How many times do we look at somebody and judge them because of their tattoos, their piercings, the way they look, the way they dress? Look in a mirror. That's you too. Yours may not be on the outside like theirs, but that's us too. Every single one of us has something. Some of us, we don't expose it. But those people are us. They're no different than us. They're lost. They're hurting. They're looking for something. They're looking for someone to love them, to show them that they care, that they are important in this world. we're no better than them. The only thing we have that's better is him. And when we hold on to him and we forget that he came to them which were his own, why can't we go to those that are our own? We see people every day. I do anyways. I definitely do. I see people every day. I look at them and go, that reminds me of me when I was younger. And they could be older than me, sometimes younger than me. But I've learned through the years to change and grow and do things different. But at the same time, why don't we receive them? Why don't we bring them in? Why don't we talk to them? They received him not, but they were his own. I'm not really changing scripture here, guys. I'm just trying to make it more in my mindset, saying I'm pushing people away that are just like me because I'm nervous or I feel inferior or I feel not where I'm supposed to be with God, but at the same time, they're not where they're supposed to be with God. God wants all of us to be saved, not one of us to be lost. He wants us to receive everyone and bring them all in. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. I've talked about this a lot in my youth group. I'm going to go ahead and read the next one too because this is the fun part. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. How many do you know right now could say, to honest to goodness, if he didn't come, would we be saved? The answer is no, we wouldn't. Because the promise was only for the Jews, not for the Gentiles. If he didn't come into this world and his light wasn't upon this world and he didn't share his light, none of us, not one of us, would have the opportunity to be saved. But yet, he came and said, you're my sons, you're my daughters, you're my children. And he gave it for everyone when he came. If he would have never came, the only people that would ever be able to be saved would be the Jews. We wouldn't be able to be here. We wouldn't have what we have. We wouldn't have the things we have. If you look at the world, the majority of the huge things that turned our worlds around were actually invented by Christians. Not just Jews, but by Christians. A lot of the things that actually made a difference in our world and actually changed things were invented by Christians, people of faith. It makes you really think how insignificant we can be in the world's aspect, but in his eyes, we're not. Because every step we take, every word we share, everything we do every day makes a difference. It don't matter what we're doing. It don't matter if you're at the same job for 30 years. It don't matter if you have multiple jobs for 30 years or 50 years or however long you work. Every single time you step out of your car, every single time you get out of your house, you're supposed to share the light. Whether that's a smile, a hi, or just talking to somebody that just looks like they need someone, a friend to lean on. Your light has to shine. I'm not one of those doom and gloom preachers, and I never will be. I went to a school that did that. And I'd go to church every day, and I feel like I was going to hell every single day of my life. It wasn't much fun. It was stressful. It made me miserable. It made me go up to the altar and cry for half an hour every Sunday because the way I was preached at and the way the conviction was and how hard he hit and everything. It's like, you know what? There's also another side to this. Yes, we have to preach that there is a heaven and a hell. You have to choose where you're going. But how we do it is up to us. The way I preach it is I try to love. I try to show my love. I try to show his love. I try to be there for people. I try to help as much as I can. I try to be there when someone needs something. I'm trying to do what I can for him. When I come to church, I don't come here on my going, what can I do to get praise? No, I come just so I can fix stuff, make sure things are working right, play around a little bit on the computers, do different stuff, just because I want to be there and help. Not because I want praise, not because I want admiration. I don't care about that stuff. I never have. I get compliments all the time on my work, and I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that. But in my mind, I'm always going, I didn't create that. God created me so I could do it. He gave me the ability to do it. So I say thank you, but in the end, I'm always, thanks God. I always thank God for giving me the ability to do it. Because without him, I couldn't do half the things I do. When I was younger, I had a hard time controlling my temper, and over the years, I've learned how to just go step back and look at it and go, all right, if I just take a few minutes, breathe, and look at it again, I'll figure it out, and it'll be done. I'm not trying to be mean, but I learned from my dad how to throw things. When something didn't work right, the hammer went flying. You were out of the way. Usually I would stand behind him just because it was like when he starts getting mad and things aren't working right, I would walk behind him real slow and just kind of stand there and wait. And then as soon as his hands were empty, then I'd get back to work. Because if you didn't watch it, sometimes something might hit you if you weren't careful. And it wasn't on purpose. He just loses temper. And over the years, he's learned how to deal with situations too. And it's just part of growing up. We have to grow up. And we have to change. The light doesn't change inside us. The only part of that song I really dislike is it says, this little light of mine. I really don't like that because it's not little. Yes, if you go into a completely dark room, if we blacked this room completely out and lit one candle, yes, it would light up the room enough to where everybody could see everybody. A candle can brighten up the darkest space. But I don't think my light's a candle. I think it's a flame. I want my light to burn so bright that it can't be put out. It can't be considered just a little flicker in the darkness. We have to do everything we can to show our light. If we try to hide it, all it does is end up hurting us. When we hide our light, all it does is hurt us. Because when we share his word, what does it say? When we give, it'll be given back to us tenfold. So when we give our light and we share, what do we get in return? We get more. We get more. We get more. Do we want to hold that? No, we want to keep giving it out. When we start holding on to it and saying, oh, this is just for me, this is just for me, this is just for me, we start forgetting where we came from. We start forgetting what we came out of, what we've given up for what we have. What he's given everything so that we could have this little bit. We'll never be as bright as him. I know that. Moses couldn't even look at him. He could only look at the backside of him, and then he was still blind for a couple days. He had to be led off the mountain because all he saw was the backside of God. Just imagine how bright your light can be. We may not be as bright as looking full face into him, but that backside, we can be that bright. I guarantee it. We can blind people. I don't want to hurt them, but I'm just saying spiritually, we can blind them. We can show them there's a difference in us. We don't have to go to coffee. We don't have to go places where they go, but we can be there to love them and show them and just not be part of everything they're dealing with, but just show them, you know what, if you need someone, I'm here for you. We don't have to become part of their situation, because when we become part of their situation, then we take on their role and we start becoming God to them. And that's not where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to show the light. And we're supposed to be there and give them the love they need and the encouragement they need and everything that they need. We can't hold and say, you know what, we'll do this, this, and this, but you've got to let go of all of that. No, you just say, you know what, God's going to love you no matter what. Those situations you're dealing with, they'll disappear in time. God's got you. You just have to rely on Him and let His light burn it out of you. Because we can't change life. We can't change what's online. We can't change what's in front of us. We can't change what they sell at the stores. We can't change the fact that we got 10 distribution plants in this small little town for something that shouldn't even be talked about, just because it's something we don't need. But for such a small town, why? Why do we have so many that are wanting that much? Where are we? There's at least 50 people in here. We outnumber those stores. Why do we have so many stores and so many people going into those stores and we can't do nothing about it? Do our words not have power? Do we not show our light? Now, granted, I do agree with certain things. There are medical aspects for it, yes. There is so much that can be learned from certain things medically, yes. But recreationally, no, I don't agree with. God is more powerful than anything you can take, anything you can grab, anything that the government says is legal. He's more powerful. Those things are just holding you back from the true move of God. We have to step forward and actually make a difference. We can't sit in church and say, we're going to go shine the light, we're going to be there for God, and then go do everything the world does. Does that make us any different? No. We may still have a light in us, but that light's starting to dwindle. We have to share the light so we can get more. We can't hold this to ourselves. We can't keep it to ourselves. We can't let our community go to hell just because we're too scared and too nervous to actually go out there and say something. That is one thing I do tell all my customers. And they all agree with me. It's kind of funny. I can actually talk about that, and they all agree with me, and they're actually with me on that. But yet, how do we make a difference? The difference comes when we stand and we speak it. We use our words that He gave us. Because words have life, and they have death. Out of the mouth, the tongue speaks. Life and death. How many words come out of your mouth that speak death to those places? And speak life to the people? Are we speaking death and misery to the people for doing what they're doing and not life? There's a difference. When you look at someone, you got to speak life. I don't always have cash to give to the homeless or anything, but I always pray for them when I walk by them or when I see them. Because they're some of the ones that struggle with that the most. People complain that they're out on the streets and they curse them for being there and say, why are you destroying my community with all your stuff that you're bringing into my community? What happens when we start to speak life into those people? When we actually start to show love to them? I wish I could help every single one of them. I wish there was something we could do for them. In the end, the decision is theirs. We can't make it for them, but we can speak life into them. We can speak life into the people we come in contact with. Our light shines no matter what we do. And with God inside us, our words are spreading that light. You may not speak directly to that person. You may never come in contact with that person. But your words and your thoughts are part of your words. Because I know this for a fact. I've done this to myself. I won't say it out loud, but I'll start cursing myself out in my head and saying a bunch of stupid things in my head. The next thing I know, everything's falling apart. Nothing's working out. Nothing's going right. And then I stop and I go, you know what? I was an idiot. I need to stop. I need to take that back. Talk to God for a second. Get rid of this out of my head and start again. And when I do that, things just start flowing and working out right again. Our words have life. And that life brings light to the world. Let's not hold these words in and just think of ourselves, but let's start sharing them. Because he said in verse 13, none of us were born into this, but he brought us into it. He changed us. He made it to where we could be part of the family. We don't have the right to be part of the family, but he gave it to us. He didn't hold nothing back. He didn't say, no, you can't have this because you're not my chosen. No, he said, what do you want? I'll give it to you. All we have to do is step out and grab it and say, you know what, God? I'll do everything I can to spread your light. Now, I know I haven't preached very long, but it was kind of a short prep time for all of this. But I'll close in prayer, and if anybody needs prayer or anything, just let us know, and we'll be happy to pray with you. Dear Lord, thank you for this time. I ask, Lord God, that you just bless each and every single one of us and just let us start to see the light you've given us. It's not a candle. It's not just flickering in the bushes in the darkness, but it's a flame, and it's burning brighter than ever. It is so bright we can't even look at it. That you've given us so much that we can do for you. We just can't do it on our own. Let us see you in everything we do. And let us learn to speak life into everyone we come in contact with. And forgive us for speaking death to anyone that we may have spoken over, and just help us to see you in every